Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth edition of the Economic Times BFSI InnoTribe Summit and Awards 2021 Digital Roundtable, titled Application Security, Drivers and Challenges for BFSI and FinTech. And it's an honor and privilege to first welcome the members of this roundtable: Bhavesh Pandey Kumar, Vice President Information Technology and Chief Information Security Officer at Poonawalla Fincorp; Jobin Akara, Chief Information Security Officer at Cholamandalam MS General Insurance Company Limited; Kiran Belsekar, Senior Technology Executive and Chief Information Security Officer at Aegon Life; and Jayesh Warrior, Vice President of Sales in this space. This session will be moderated by Sindhu Vethori, Director Cyber, Grant Thornton. Sindhu, over to you.
Thank you for the introduction. Today we are here to discuss about the application security challenges and trends that's there in the industry. As you know, today we are facing the biggest challenges as far as data theft is concerned. 43% of the data threat is because of the vulnerabilities that exist in the application layer. And application being the front door for the data theft, this is one of the key aspects that everybody is talking about in the boardroom. How do we secure our application? What do we need to do in order to protect from the external as well as internal threat? So that's the context. We have industry experts in the panel today, and we will go through some of the scenarios, some of the questions. What are their views and thoughts? What have they taken? What are the measures that they have taken to ensure the application is secured? And what are their futuristic view on application security? So let me start with the first question to Jobin T. Akara, who is the CISO from Cholamandalam General Insurance. So Jobin, what are the key triggers for securing your applications? And what would you say is the #1 trigger for FinTech and your organization, and why? Is it compliance issue? Is it customer trust issue? Or is it business continuity, looking at the reality of threat that exists as of today?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Sindhu. See, from the application security, if you see that, see the most key things from the application security, if you say like from the development stage itself, we need to think about on the application, whatever application we are developing, that whether the developers have the required training, whether they have the understanding, like, see, if you see that the developers always assume that the security is being taken care by the network team, firewall, or SSL, and at the last by InfoSec team. So they takes care of that, and I need to just develop and meet the business requirement. So we have to ensure that this application security part, we have to train them, make them understand that when you develop the things, it has to be, the security should be one of the prime objective when you develop any applications. Then when they say that on any, when they use the libraries like common security controls, everything, so they have to see that when they're developing anything, so those things like to avoid that SQL injections, that means they have to see that the user inputs are getting parameterized, and they have to see that the proper authentication, authorization, input validation, and see that secure database access is made. Because most of the things that application level, one side they are made is security, but accessing the database, they are use the vague authentication mechanisms, and it open up the database for the hackers to get into the systems. And they have to see that the proper encryption or log and the logging is in place. Then we have to see that where is it from the third part view of view, we have to see that the coding, whether those codes are properly reviewed before getting into the production, proper review of the codes, what they have developed, and see that there is before moving to the production, we have to do an assessment of that. That's key part from the InfoSec team. all these things are getting addressed. So we have all the customer information, whether it is getting means it's getting put on the clear text format, or whether proper encryption is placed on whatever data field input to the customer information, wherever the key information, the confidential information which you are keying in. So now data protection bill is going to come. So there we have to see that those information are getting protected from the stage. The data is getting encrypted, increments key in, and is getting stored. So these are the key points we have to see from the applications security, and these are the things I feel that we need to follow for ensuring that the proper application security in place in any of the organization.
Thanks for that, Jobin. Good insight. Let's move to the next question, and that's headed to Kiran Balsekar, who's a CISO from Aegon Insurance. And the question to you is, application security is a responsibility of the business owner. What initiatives do you have in place to address this? And what more do you think can be and should be done?
Hey, hi, Sindhu, and welcome to all co-panelists. First of all, thanks for having me here. I just wanted to start with one message. While I've been hearing the issues which we are talking about from an application security or from the cybersecurity perspective, one thing I wanted to pass on as a message is that let's understand one thing. It's these security issues are not being created by technology team. They are created by business. That's so we all need to address this cyber risk and a business risk together. They are tightly integrated with each other. So that's the message which I wanted to start with. And now if you look at from the application security, this, if you look at the digital transformation, which is a buzzword which is very highly abused nowadays, and one of the very important medium to achieve this is cloud. If you look at, because why it gets the agility to the organization, it's the time to market is highly increased because of this, and that's where the most of the application or infrastructure security needs more and more attention because of these exposures, because now everything is, I would say, it's boundaryless. You don't have a boundary coming in from an to an organization perspective. And if you see, the information security team is always going to be outnumbered in any organization. So and that's where it becomes very important that the organizations or specifically the traditional security cannot be fitted into the modern security the way we are trying to fit in our solutions or the security or the risk assessment perspective. So it's very important that the more the organizations are getting more agile compared to the earlier waterfall model. So that's where the early feedback system is very important, whether it is to the business team, whether it is to an application team or the IT team. It is very important for them to get an early feedback as and when the SDLC lifecycle is moving. You cannot have the waterfall approach going around while the business and the tech team is moving towards more of an agile methodology. So I think one of the important aspects is giving an early feedback rather than giving it at the end of the whole process.
Great. I would agree to that. An ongoing feedback, an ongoing communication, ongoing assessment at the time of development is key to ensure that we are proactive and futuristic towards security objectives to be attained. Okay, thank you so much, Kiran. Moving on to Bhavesh Pandey Kumar, who's a CISO from Poonawalla FinTech company. So the question to you is, API adoption with open interfaces and aggregation of services across different providers along with the core is a key trend that's been seen. Do you think API security requires a special attention? And what are the challenges that you see with respect to in your organization, if there is any? Over to you, Bhavesh.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So first of all, thank you for having me here. And when you say API security, So I will just go, one step back. So when you say digitization in the organization, to compete with, your industry peers, you have to integrate your services, your deliverables through different, applications, different environment. And API is, as of now, is the, best way to do this. And, I will give you certain use case, like in India, especially at the time of festival season, every industry, especially BFSI, in BFSI in NBFC, where we are as a lending agency, where we provide loans to used car, bike loans, a personal loan for that electronic goods. So customer has intent to go in the any shop and identify any electronic goods, and they want to check out as soon as possible.
Mhm.
And there is a pressure on lenders to provide that particular detail. Okay, are we going to provide you a loan on this? So you have hardly 1 or 2 minutes to come up with a response. Yes, we are going to provide you a loan on this particular item. So all these turnaround time, it's hardly you have 1 or 2 minutes to reply to your customer. For that, API integration with the different applications is required. I would like to brief you. So in this particular 1 minute, that application touch more than 7 to 8, 10 services in civil check, in hunter check. There's so many, processes happening in background. And for that, these days API are being used. So API security of API, assessment of API, control on API is very much important in the organization. And these days, every cyber, professionals have this challenge to protect their APIs, because if once your API will compromise, your entire ecosystem of this digital world will be compromised in your organization. So that's the API security is very much important these days.
Thank you so much, Bhavesh. Thanks to that. Very good insight, and I agree. So over to Jayesh. This question is coming to you, Jayesh. So Indus Phase has been in this business providing solutions. What do you see is the key trigger in your customer base, and how do you help the business owners solve the problem?
Yeah, thanks, Sindhu, and good afternoon to all of you. You mentioned in the beginning about the competitiveness in the continuity of the business. So that needs to be looked at, number one. You talked about customer trust, and I would say there needs to be addition to that is that building the trust and as well as retaining the trust. And third one is obviously being the fintech, there's a need of compliance. Now, according to me, there are primarily three, I would say, orgs here. And Kiran briefly touched about it. So according to me, first one is business, obviously, and there has to be a lot of ownership that needs to be coming from their side. There is a requirement for constant change, as per the business dynamics and the requirements. Obviously, there's a need of adoption, going to cloud and stuff like that. So that also needs to be taken care of. And Bhavesh just touched about it has to be, the applications needs to be, has to be friendly. It has to be very, very less time consuming. The more and more the applications become complex, the consumption of the time has to be little. So these are the things that the business is always looking at. These are the challenges or the trigger points for business team. The second thing that is responsible here is the technology. Now there has to be a frequent adoption or a frequent innovation that's going in. There is always an agile methodology that needs to be coming in. There has to be faster rollouts. Jobin touched about that. It's easily been said that it has to be with the technology only, but that's not the case. It has to come in from the security, and the other stakeholders also needs to be looking at. And we also talked about API. And there's no point going and inventing something of the self. We have to be open to opening our own APIs as well as consuming the APIs of other businesses so that the business becomes more agile. So technology is a second area that needs to be looked at. And the third one, which we have the leaders here, is on the security, right? And it's like any application or any code that's been developed. Typically, it's either we have them looking at the security point of view from the beginning, or we know from the past that, or the statistics clearly say that, first is identifying those vulnerabilities or the problem statements, and then the second one is fixing those, right? Okay, we can look at that. And second one is having security ingrained into those applications. So how can we secure our application, ideally upfront, right? So and the typical statistics says around 250 to 300 days is when the vulnerabilities are open, right? Now, that's a very serious concern. It just gives a window for attackers to, exploit those vulnerabilities. Now, even after fixing those vulnerabilities, the challenge that the security leaders have is about how do we secure those, patches, right? How can that be done without downtime, those stuff, right? And then, one of the panelists talked about, hybrid hosting or deployment across various infrastructure. Now, again, those infrastructure, whether they're safe or. So these are all the challenges that are there from an application perspective. And then we're talking about the resourcing, or firstly hiring and retaining those resourcing. How can that be done? Because that's also another challenge. Getting the right resources and hiring and retaining, creating customer awareness within the infrastructure, within the organization, and then having a very, very discrete and a large or a geographically spread organization. So again, awareness or spreading awareness could be a challenge. So these are some of the challenges that organizations nowadays are facing. How, from an interface perspective, how typically we help them is helping our organizations to detect the vulnerabilities as early as possible, and then trying to help them in protecting those applications. So because application is the face of it, and how can we help them in detecting and then protecting those applications? So I think that's the way we are looking at right now. And there's a constant innovation going on around this, how we can help our customers to protect themselves.
Great. Thanks, Jayesh. Thanks for that insight. Okay, so now I have a question for all the three panelists, and I'd like to hear the view from each one of them. So let's start with Kiran. So Kiran, denial of service, bot attacks, we keep hearing about it, and ransomware every day. Fintech, given the nature of the business, could be the prime targets. Is this an area of concern? And what do you think can be done in your form? And what is it that the industry need? And what's the need of the hour to deal with this?
Very big question. So, first of all, let us understand is also, this is an API economy. So you are, it's not that your app, your boundary is limited to your network, where you have your own firewalls, you have your own customer portals, websites. Now the business is getting source from the all corners, basically, and it is an interdependent world. If you want to do a business in the market, you have to get integrated with other parties. You cannot do all things all alone. Technology, to get an integration, we have technology partners, but in case it is a business, you also need to integrate with your digital partners as well. And now it is not a single source. It's that's what I was saying. It's a totally a boundaryless environment. And to ensure that we do right at this point of time is something which is largely going back to our old principles of risk assessment. Is basically when we are onboarding your partners, when you're onboarding your technology partners or a business partners, you need to do an appropriate risk assessment prior onboarding them. And that's also the ask which most of the regulators are asking about it. Because, and does that assures you the 100% security? Answer is no, but that gives you a reasonable assurance that you are doing your due diligence prior onboarding it to them. And there are various other processes which we need to take it forward as well. And if you even look at what kind of a security, I would just again like to touch back is on the third party in terms of the supply chain attacks which we are seeing nowadays. So it's really not that you will be able to protect 100%. You are also dependent on your third parties as well when it comes with an integration perspective. So that's very important aspects, I would say. So the risk assessment, going back to the old principles, but while these old principles are working, we also need to modernize the environment as well, because as Jayesh was talking about, the velocity of the changes which are happening in the environment, whether it is at partner end or whether it is at our end, the traditional security is not going to work out in this way. The agile organizations of fintechs have already adopted the agile way of working, which is more of a DevOps, more of a CI/CD pipeline perspective. So here you need to have your security gates built into each and every phase, and that's how we will be able to match up to the speed of the business. So I think getting security integrated, doing it as a software as a service, the way we talk about, so security as a service which gets integrated into these applications, into these business movements of the changes, fast, rapid moving changes. I think that's more important. That's the way we could be able to meet up these speed perspective.
Thanks, Kiran. Bhavesh, what is your view on this? So let's hear from him
Okay,
now.
so I will, try to, just to give you my opinion on your first question. What is the trigger point of your, to protect your environment or your application? Look, these days, you have seen almost every week we have some big, cyber incident, and after that, customer confidence goes down. We have seen in past, like after cyber attack, revenue of that particular organization goes down drastically. So cyber security function is an organization to protect business. If there will be no business, what you will protect? So that the first intent of that every security professional should be to protect business, so confidence of customer will remain high. So customer trust should be the main objective or first priority that should consider to protect your organization's information, customer data, your crown jewels. I will give you a few things on this point. Look, I have experience of even going for cyber insurance also. So while discussing with the different insurance agency, when we ask what is the impact, or are you going to compensate us on our brand value? No one has any reply on this, because brand value is not going to measure in monetary term till now. But when any cyber incident happens in the organization, that's the first thing you lose: a customer confidence and brand value. So that trigger point should be the customer trust for your protection of your business. Now I'm coming on the question of you, protecting that environment, ransomware, all these things. So I will just touch point on ransomware. Look, ransomware is going to stay here, and it's giving a sleepless night to all these cyber professionals as of now. But it is going to stay here. We have to. It's similar to COVID-19. Coronavirus, it's going to stay here. We have to live with this virus. Same way we have to live with ransomware. But how? That is a big question. So my first suggestion to everyone is strong, your fundamentals in IT. Very few things. I will suggest you one thing. Just went back when, a decade back, we started developing our policies, procedure, all these things. Just go back and relook all these policies and procedure, whether we are following them. Are we patching our older systems? Well, no. Many times we say, okay, we have now this integration, we have SOC, we have all these things, but we forget our older system, legacy system, which is still working and backbone of our organization. So that's the first thumb rule: patch all our systems in a perfect condition, or upgrade it. Spend some money, upgrade it. There are so many things to say on to how to protect from ransomware, like backups, everything. But I'd like to focus on few things. First thing is awareness. Just inform your user. Think at least twice before clicking on any unidentified URLs. which is coming either on email or in any pop-ups or anything. Whenever you are clicking on any URL, think twice. Whether it's a new thing, whether your IT team sends these kind of URLs or your application generates these kind of URLs. No, then why you are clicking on it? So that awareness we should give in the organization. One more point, that is, we must see our SMBs, server message block. Always, keep your servers, upgraded. Your patch should be updated in every server should be updated with the latest patch. And one more thing, these days we are doing even cyber awareness, but we are not updating or we are not informing our users. Don't disclose your internal information. Whatever information you have, you are not authorized to disclose to outside world. Fine. These are the basic things. If you will able to plug all these things, at an optimum level, you will be able to protect yourself from ransomware attack.
Thank you, Bhavesh. I think couldn't agree more with you. Some of the fundamentals is key to ensure the security sustain and well put with respect to awareness, even at the ground level, to ensure that people are aware of what are the do's and don'ts, what are the majors, a basic hygiene that we need to keep in check. How do you protect legacy systems? Because most of the time, legacy systems are weakling in the entire chain of security threat, right? So well put. Thanks for that, Bhavesh. Over to Jobin.
Yeah.
Jobin,
yes. If you see that that question you are asked on the DNL service bot attacks, if you see that around 4 or 5 years back, we all come across on one of the major cyber attack like volumetric DNL service attack. For most of the banking, they have targeted the banking. So till that time, we were pointing out DOS, but it has got a DDoS attack, which has almost all the banking, they have clearly defined when scheduled, like, okay, on so and so date, this all banks will be attacked. And till that time, no banks were, most of the major organizations were not considering about securing or protecting from volumetric attack on their core networks. So what I would say, these threat vectors or the hackers, they are defining or they are giving the KRIs to the InfoSec team, saying that, okay, these are the attacks going to happen. You have to go behind of that. And probably all these ISPs, they have got one key point. Okay, after that, they have come up with the solution like, okay, we have got clean pipe networks to all these banks, and all the organizers, all the BFSI has forced to go with clean pipe network, and they have to invest on this part. So what I'm trying to say is the security or threat vectors are keep on coming one or other way. As Bhavesh said, is ransomware. It is going to stay. We have to coexist with that. So how we can secure that? So like COVID, we have to vaccinate. So we have to ensure that we are properly taking the vaccine. So that vaccine is something like a patching. So we have to ensure that all our assets are patched, all the systems which is not patched should not be put on to the production, or it has to be ensured that without patching, if it's not able to patch, if there is a dependency, most of the cases we see that the databases, they cannot patch on a specific time period. It has to have, because that has got a lot of dependency on the application side. So if things which is not happening, or there is a risk point of view, we have to clearly define that, make them the business team. So earlier you are referring on the application security. Who is the owner? Whether the business has to own the application security. So if you see that, a business owner will simply say that, okay, this application is developed by the IT team. So how can I know what security? It is the responsibility of the application. The application team will put a ball to the InfoSec team, saying that, boss, whatever a business team has asked, I have delivered. It's your responsibility to identify the risk and make them under. So ultimately the responsibility lies with the infosec team. So as a CISO, we have to ensure that all this risk, all the security gaps, which has to be clearly defined, and tell to the business owners saying that both these are the risks on your applications. Either you ask the team to get it closed, or you accept the risk. Then automatically the responsibility, the point lands, the owner becomes the business owner, because tomorrow if anything goes wrong, it should not be blamed to the IT team or the infosec team, because it's been reported, and it's the business owner has to shell out the money. Because why IT team is not able to do? Because they are not getting enough budget to address those gaps. That any business team has to give the budget for that. So it is like so that the cost is the matter for correcting those systems. So we have to ensure that business owner is responsible for the but for the security. And Kiran was mentioning that, see, we are not creating the gaps, security issues. It's like the business team, for their requirement, the technology is built up and all these vulnerabilities or risks are coming up. So ultimately we have to ensure that the risk, whatever it may be, it has to be defined and make the organization understand we are either we accept or take shell out a required budget for closing those gaps.
I'd like to just add here on business that security ownership. Look, it's security is not a IT stuff or only security department stuff. It's a organization's activity now. So whenever we develop any applications, it's a sort of it's a based on business requirement. But business is not going to plug any vulnerabilities that have to plug by IT, and security team has to identify those gaps. So all business security team and business and application development team should be hand in gloves from very first day whenever you start developing any application. That's a point number one. Point number two is look, these days when you have so many even digital stuff is happening on an organization, there is a shadow IT in every organization these days. HR has their own, I found, I will give you just one, my own experience. One day, one HR lady came in my one of previous organization, like, look, Pavis, can you come for a 5 minute? And when I went there, they were discussing a SaaS application where entire organizations, 15,000, employees data is traveling in a SaaS application, and they are integrating with the API. They have some challenges related to some API stuff, so they just called me for my expert advice. And I said, look, you cannot do this without informing us or IT. So shadow IT is the reality as of now. So many times a sudden new application comes in the organization for some business services, and even IT or security are not aware. So this is not only a security or IT stuff, it's organization stuff. Even every business function must coordinate with the IT and security team to protect their information.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pavish. Thanks, Jobin. So the thoughts that you're bringing to the table is security is a collective responsibility and not just one department's responsibility.
Correct.
It has hand in glove. And as Jobin rightly said, we need to have preventive and detective controls at every layers of our application so that we can deal and respond to a security incident appropriately. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jayesh. As an OEM vendor in this space, how do you look at this and what do you do to address this? Over to you.
Yeah, so what we do is we are always, in the mode of looking at the requirements or the understanding the pain points of the customer and trying to constantly innovate our offerings to the customer. There's obviously a wish list of features that according to us is important, as part of our innovation. But we, as I said, we also looking at the customer mindset. What are the business dynamics We are always hearing from them, and also appending, or I would say increasing the features of our existing offerings that are already gone out. So I think that's one of the ways of partnering with our customers and helping them improve their security posture. You know, and then we talked about APIs, and we talked about DDoS attacks and all that, which is very, very rampant nowadays, especially with you know, remote working or work from home. From an API perspective, you know, that's becoming, or we are talking about even bot attacks which are there nowadays, and you know, these are modes of automating the services, and in the process there could be a lot of security lapses. For example, you know, there could be, you know, a series of attacks that can come in, you know, and you know, organizations will not be even aware of it, right? So what we do is we look at some of the behavioral patterns of even the bots that come in, and see if we can build some blocking mechanisms out there. The DDoS, as I said earlier, is again is been there for ages now. But you know, those are the things where there are different types of attacks that are coming in nowadays, you know. And when we try to put some rules which are, you know, like limiting rule sets, right? But those could not be relevant, as one of the panelists said earlier, based on the type of the business. It could be seasonal, it could be month-end business, it could be quarter-end business, it could be year-end business, and based on that, the traffic of your application will vary. Now, we cannot have standard rule sets there, and of late we have come up with features like behavioral DDoS. So looking at the behavior of the traffic, we will change the rule sets. I'm sure a lot of you must be doing trading, you know, in the equity markets, and there's something called, you know, changing of the patterns of the stop loss. It's called trailing stop loss. So accordingly, similar fundamental is applied here when we're talking about DDoS. So overall, what we do as an organization or as a service provider is that looking holistically on the customer pain point is from an application perspective, and how we can help them in addressing you know, their security needs, and how we can help them in protecting themselves. So that's what we are looking at, you know, from a service provider. I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So in order to we need to bring a fine balance between the business goal, customer objectives, as well as security objectives. And that can only happen when each one of us work collectively towards addressing those points, right? So great. So let's look at the closing thoughts. It's been a wonderful session. So let's start with the closing thoughts, starting with Bhavesh first. Bhavesh, what is your view on the futuristic aspect, looking at the various threats that are emerging, and it is only getting complicated with more layers of advanced technology coming on the forefront, you know, AI, NLP, there are many more that's come. And with this application being the front gate to the first point of entry for the external predators, what do you think we should be doing, and how do you think we can tackle this? So what are your views on it?
Okay, so to protect you know, our organization in the security department, we have so many, you know, options available. We have so many applications. Are we able to protect all these attacks? No. So my personal view is we have to change the thought process. As of now, security is in most of the organizations are in a reactive in nature. Whenever any incident comes or any alert comes from our SOC service provider, we start working on that. So we have to change from a reactive to proactive. We should start threat hunting. We should see what kind of, you know, behavior, you know, change happening in our logs, in our user perspective. I will give you one example. You know, I think a decade back when I was working as a, you know, SOC analyst, we receive alert like one of the user is sending some, you know, there's a traffic volume from in 3 o'clock in midnight. When we call their manager, they say, "Let me check," and he called it back. Look, he's at home. His desktop is in office. So we have to see the behavior. Whether user, what kind of you know, working behavior that particular system is generating, all these things. So proactive approach we have to see. We have to analyze each and every log. Our SOC monitoring should be very effective. It should be proactive in nature, not in reactive in nature. Again, I will come on that, like we should improve our fundamental again, not improve, we should look back to our fundamentals. That is very important, fine. And third point is that is awareness. Awareness to the user related to information security should improve now. If in our survey we found even 20% employees are not complete aware, or in fact even 70% aware about information or cyber security. So that percentage should be improved. It should be minimum 90%. Right? There is one more thing that in organizations, people see many times security department as a police department or sort of roadblocker, and there is no that some of the blame even security teams should take for this. You should not only always reply in a nature like no, we are not providing this access, we are not going to provide this. Look, security team are a team of enablers. You are there to protect. You are not there to block. So whatever business is asking, you have to think in a prism of a business requirement, put some control, but open it. That's what that. If you will only block everything, then one day people will start marking you in any incident or anything that unusual is happening in their system or in their department. So these are the three things we have to keep in mind to protect our organization.
Thanks, Bhavesh. Thanks to that. And I like the fact that you talked about the fundamentals, because which is being completely ignored these days. Everybody thinking about advanced tools, advanced perimeter security, but nobody is looking at the fundamentals, right? So
yeah, only AI and ML.
Absolutely. Can't agree more on that. Thank you so much, Bhavesh. Jobin, over to you for your views.
See, I would say that we have to have a continuous assessment on that. Normally, organization or we have predefined schedules like, okay, we do the vulnerability assessment once in a year, or whenever there is a major change happens. So I would say that we have to assess the applications even if there is a small change in that application. So the change, because it is point they're saying that up to what level we can take it as a change, because the developer says that I did a small change, but it may be a major impact on that. It can open up another open vulnerability. So any change in the system, it has to go for a assessment before moving to the production. And we have to see that patching. So as I said, means most of the security gaps are happened because of improper patching of the application or the infrastructure assets. Next thing is review of firewall rules. Like most of the time when the business or the means application team or the infra team, they say that, okay, one specific requirement, we have opened the ports of the particular application to the public or to the specific user, and they miss to close that. So if you see that a lot of data leakage has happened because of open port to the external world, because they forgot to close that. And the major point, what Mr. Bhavesh said on this, I will emphasize like awareness, because the inside that employee, because of lack of employee awareness, has caused a lot of data breaches or a lot of leakages on the system. So we have to say that awareness in terms of we have to have a different campaigns we have to run, saying that, okay, we can put a fake saying that some what you would say, okay, you have got a gift from Amazon, gift vouchers. So we do in that way, like send mails to entire employees saying that, okay, you have won 500 gift voucher, this is a gift from HR. So means undoubtedly everyone are eager to get that, and they will say that, okay, you are fished and you should be very careful when you get a mail. So don't see that something is too good. You should be very careful, so nothing comes free. So that way we do continuously, we do the assessment, and we are seeing a drastic change in that. We are very cautious whether it's a phishing campaign done by InfoSec team or is a genuine mail. So most of the times now I'm keep on getting this some mails, okay, whether it's a mail you have sent or it's an actual mail. So that way, so awareness, so just sending a mail, like you should not click double means another means suspicious mails, that will not have. We have to make them experience like what all things need to check when you get a mail. And like a wishing also, we should have a test the user, call them saying that, okay, I am calling from Sunset Bank, please share your account number, I am going to transfer 1,000 rupees. So whether they are going to give those information or not. So those way we have to really test the user capability to identify those threat vectors they can. So that way awareness is the most important thing, and patching and continuous assessment. So I would say these are key 3 points we need to consider for improving the organization security posture.
Well said, Jobin. I specifically liked your change management view, because that's where most of the time the team exposes a vulnerability silently, and it is not realized unless somebody has exploited that vulnerability. So it's important that during a change management, one does look at the interdependencies, the combination of all the factors that comes into a play for the change, and what are your rollback plan, do a proper UAT testing, and then move on to production flow, right? So well addressed points. Thank you, Jobin, for that. Over to you, Kiran, for your views.
Yeah, sure. So I would say to have the security strategy defined as per the old principles, which is prevention, detection, and then whatever are the leftover is to be automated it out. So have the automation built into it. So detection, prevention, detection, and automation is something, that's the mantra I think we should look at. The other aspects I would say to handle the modern security aspects perspective is to do security as a code, shift the ownership to the development team and empower them, because at the end of the day it is a cyber security is a team sport. So that's one thing. And finally, organization needs to have a right visibility to detect the anomaly. So the objective is to detect them early before it becoming any kind of an incident. So these are the 3 takeaways I would recommend.
Thanks, Kiran. I agree that we need to have preventive and detective controls, and there needs to be an automation for all the mundane tasks so that there is no element of human error. Well addressed, and also talking about the security intelligence, which is another very good aspect of control to have in an organization, because when you have an intelligence forum, you not only look at the perimeter level emerging security threats and vulnerabilities, but also you have an eye on the insider threat, because most of the time the vulnerability is exploited by the insiders in an organization. So to have a behavior and analysis of the people, like one of us just mentioned about how trading is being online monitored on the behavior and analysis of the people working on it, right? So these are some of the controls definitely needs to be in place. Thank you so much, Kiran. Over to you, Jayesh, for your closing views on this.
Yeah, thanks. So as a service provider, as I said earlier, we are also looking at it very, very comprehensively or holistically. And our focus is always been into application security. And we had Kiran talking about this, and some of the things we actually ingrain in ourselves. So we look at application is primarily provided as a web application as a service, as a managed service. And what we do here is we start with the risk detection. So looking at the risk aspects of an application. That means continuous scanning. Jobin touched about it, right? Continuous scanning of the application and looking at the vulnerabilities. And the first thing that we do post our risk detection is how can we protect those applications from those vulnerabilities, because these are known issues, these are known vulnerabilities. So how can we patch them? So we provide something called, it's called virtual patching. So knowing those vulnerabilities and patching those, or not allowing the hackers, if there is an attack at any given point of time, then blocking the attack at our solution level itself. So it doesn't go to the application or the servers, or doesn't exploit any of those things, right? And then post that, based on our understanding of the application or knowing the behavior of the application, and then build your security posture, application security posture on top of it by having more rule sets, premium rule sets or custom rule sets building on top of it to block further malicious traffic. And then third one is we also touched about the resourcing, which is nowadays being very, very scarce, and with a lot of technologies coming into play, having people aware of those technologies and working on those technologies is becoming more and more difficult. So we provide our offering as a managed service. So the customer just needs to come to us, and we will take care of the entire management of that particular technology. So we provide our offering as a managed service. And lastly, with the advent of digital and all these things, there's more and more traffic coming in, and at any point of time, they want to have additional service on top of it, is providing acceleration of their web traffic. Then we can provide acceleration service as well. So overall, we are trying to provide a holistic offering in our WAF, and this is called Induspace Aptrana for our customers.
Thanks, Jayesh. Thank you so much for that insight. So thank you so much for for joining us today in this conference. And each one of you have brought in your own experiences, your own views and insights on how you handle in your organization. That has really added value to the security company. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.